Welcome to Light Her Up, your go-to podcast for exploring what it means to align with your passions and create a life filled with freedom, ease, and fulfillment. I'm your host, Natalie Bernacki, a mom, entrepreneur, and certified coach who left a 15-year corporate career to build a life aligned with my passions and help other women do the same. We'll be diving deep into topics like self-discovery, mindset shifts, and the courage to pursue the life you've always dreamed of. Thank you for being here and for prioritizing yourself. I'm honored to be a part of your journey. If you're ready to find your joy, reclaim your identity, and upgrade your life, you're in the right place. Now let's light it up. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Light Her Up podcast. Today on the podcast, I am joined by Diana Lunzer, creator of the Productive CEO Club. She's a two-time business owner, an ex-corporate girly just like me, a systems strategist, and a proud mama of 3 boys who helps female founders go from chaos to calm with sustainable systems that actually support their growth. I have worked with Diana firsthand, and she has helped me tremendously in my business, and I'm so excited to have her here on the podcast. In this episode, we are diving into what productivity really looks like when you stop trying to do it all and you start working with intention. So tune in if you are tired of feeling buried by your business, if you're ready to feel more clear and in control, or you're craving systems and rhythms that support how you actually want to live and lead. Okay, I have a question for you. What if your business actually supported your life instead of secretly stealing it? The rocket ship mastermind isn't just a container, it's a recalibration. It's for the woman already in motion, but ready to lead from deeper alignment, build with clearer strategy, and actually feel the success she's creating. Inside the rocket ship, we don't chase, we clarify. We don't hustle, we hold power. We don't just scale revenue, we expand identity. So if you're done building alone, questioning your pace, second guessing your decisions, or trying to squeeze your brilliance into models that weren't built for you, then this space is for you. A space where strategy meets soul level alignment, where mindset becomes movement, and where community doesn't just hold you, but stretches you into your highest self. I've put the link in the show notes so you can apply. I know you already feel the shift, and now it's time to move. Can't wait to see you on board. Hi, Diana. Welcome to the Light Her Up podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm pumped to be here.
Yay. Okay, so I have been dying to have you on as a guest forever. And actually, even before I started my podcast, I feel like you kind of helped me get my podcast up and running, at least from a systems perspective. So I can't wait to chat about that a little bit too.
Yes.
But for those of the listeners in my audience that don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself a little bit, share a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Diana Lunzer. I'm a productivity strategist and a certified Notion consultant. And what I do really is help other business owners get organized with systems in their business. So I use Notion a lot. It's a big lever that I pull in my business, along with some other tools like Zapier and things like that for automations. But I really come in when a business owner is in that growth mode where they're starting to hire and they are really growing and scaling. And there are no systems in place and they can feel the pain of that, or they do have some cobbled together systems, but it's just not working efficiently and effectively for them. So I come in and I build them custom operating systems inside of Notion, and we do workflow strategy and we just streamline their workflows, kind of like we did with you around your podcast and onboarding guests. So it's a true passion of mine. I feel like this is a gift and I'm just leaning into it and I love it. And I'm having so much fun building this business.
That's amazing. And I love it. Like, it's so funny because before I started my own business, I even did a whole podcast episode on this. I was like the go-to person that people would be like, "You're so organized. Can I just pick your brain? Like, how are you so organized? What systems do you use? And I felt really on top of my game. Then I became an entrepreneur and I was flailing like a chicken with my head cut off. I met you and you were just like beaming with excitement about like systems and organizing. And I was like, okay, I need to like be in her world and like figure out what she's doing. And so I joined your Productive CEO Club. And literally within a couple weeks, I feel like it just like shifted my entire back end. Like not just the podcast. So Diana helped me create like a custom like podcast flow. So everything's automated. I have an application. Like I sent it to Diana. She filled it out. I get all the information that I need for the podcast. Then she got an email to pick like what time to schedule and record this podcast. Then it goes on your calendar, it goes on my calendar. She even taught me how to do Zap. So now it goes to my husband's calendar so he knows he can't be home when I'm recording a podcast. It's just so good. But that and like the whole business behind the scenes. So yeah, like I had one of those cobbled together systems like you mentioned, and I just didn't know how to operate in entrepreneur land, and you helped me so much. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because I've only been an entrepreneur for a couple years now, and prior to that, like you, we were both in 9 to 5s in corporate
Mhm.
and climbing that other ladder before we realized it wasn't the ladder we wanted to be on. And I think it's when I think back to how I made this pivot, because in my corporate days, I spent kind of over 13 years of experience in marketing, but it translates so well into what I do now because so much of it is about customer experience or just
Mhm.
like the person's experience, whether it's a customer or it's a podcast guest, like thinking through all the touch points. Cause I came from brand marketing where you really
Mhm.
focused on that experience and like what was the brand experience for the customer at every touch point, from being a hot lead all the way through to post purchase and that honeymoon phase after they bought the product.
Mhm.
And so I feel like that's like was so drilled into me from my corporate marketing days that now it's such a big piece of what I do with systems is like, how can we streamline the experience for your people, whether that's a
Mhm.
client, whether that's a podcast guest, whatever that looks like in your business model? How can we streamline that and make it an exceptional experience for
Mhm.
you, right? From like a doing manual task perspective, but also for the person on the other side. And I just think that it's like so much fun when we can like stitch it all together and make it really streamlined and beautiful. And I love it. I
Yeah.
love this work. It's so much fun. So thank you for sharing that. I'm so
Yeah.
happy I was able to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, we have so much in common from like corporate life. I was in customer success and account management, so like very similar with you, like customer
Mhm.
touch points and the customer journey and all of that, just from different sides of
Mhm.
the experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so you worked in corporate marketing, like you said, for over a decade before starting your own business. So, what sparked you to shift? Like, what was it that made you decide this isn't for me anymore? I want to create my own business.
Yeah. So for me, I have 3 kids too, 3 young boys. And so I had all 3 of my kids at my last career, my 9 to 5 at that same company. And also COVID happened during that time.
Hmm.
And so for me, it was like after I had my third child, I came back from maternity leave and I'd already been thinking, I don't know that I want to continue doing this. Like while I was on maternity leave before I left, some of the dynamics had changed at the company, different team members, different leadership came in, and the culture had shifted for sure, not in a way that was positive. And so that played a really big role because if you like I always say, like it actually doesn't really matter what I do as long as I'm working alongside people or for people that are cool and fun and enjoyable, like it's going to be fine. Like I think
Yep.
the people you work with are so important. Um cherry on top if you like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a really big part of it. And so when I came back from maternity leave after having my third son, it was like clear as day. I was just like, no. First
Hmm.
of all, I don't know how I did this. How did I go into the office like every day? And I don't even think we were back full time. But I'm like, how did I go into the office even like 2 or 3 days a week with young kids? And at this point now I had 3. It was just crazy. And I had this like extreme clarity around like, hey, I had my children because I wanted to be an actively engaged mother. Like I wanted to be at their sporting events and not like on my phone
Mm-hmm.
taking calls because like there was a team meeting and I had to be on it. Like I just like I felt this like tension and this pull
Yeah.
between like not having autonomy and flexibility over my schedule because I was part of this giant global enterprise and a team there and all that stuff, and just like not having the level of control that I wanted on my schedule, on my income, things like that. I just felt like I just wanted more flexibility and more control. So when I came back from maternity leave, yeah, for the first time, I really had this. I explained it to my husband, like this fire in my belly and this clarity. Go do your own thing. Like you have the skill set, go do your own thing. You can do this, you can make this happen, and you can build a business that lines up with the life that you want to live. Right. And so,
Mm-hmm.
um, I took the leap pretty quickly after coming back from maternity leave. I was just there for a couple months and then I put my notice in and then started my business at the beginning of 2023. So, yeah, it was very
Wow.
exciting and I've
Yeah.
never looked back. So I started a marketing business. That's what I did when I first left. And I still have that business today, but I've obviously pivoted since towards my passion. So
That's amazing. And it's so interesting, right? Like, again, similar journeys that we were both on. I think that this happens to a lot of women too. It's like as soon as you have your baby, your priorities change. Like you realize, okay, wait, this is so much more important than any job. And this is truly what I want. Even when I was pregnant, like I didn't really comprehend that that shift was going to happen. But then after I had my first baby, I realized, like, wait, something's off. Then I had my second baby 2 years later. And after that, I was like, this, like, the universe was basically like, you cannot go to this job anymore. Like, there is no way you're going to this job. Like, all of the things, I worked for a startup that scaled to be like a grown up company, not a startup anymore. And things change. Private equity comes in and leadership changes. And then there's more red tape. And like people are working more like based out of fear to save their own ass. And like just the stuff that I did not want to be a part of anymore. And I think when you have kids as a mom, you realize like, yeah, I could do that before, but like that's not worth my time or my energy. This is. And so, yeah, it's just wild what happens when you become a mom.
yeah. Yeah. You just get extreme clarity and you're and like the way you spend your time, I feel like, and that's a lot of what I help clients with now around time management. It's like, I just remember sitting in this like dark closet of a room. It was not a closet, but it was, basically pumping at work every
Oh,
couple
yeah.
hours and having to like excuse myself from like all day meetings and just like how uncomfortable it was and like getting comments from leadership around, like, oh, she sure pumps a lot. Like, what am I doing
Hmm.
down there? Like, and I'm just like, I'm literally working down there so that I can leave at a specific time because I want to get back to my kiddos, and I want to pick them up from daycare. So yeah, it was not aligned. I think that's what it came down to, which is probably similar for you.
Oh my God. I do remember the pumping days. Oh, it was like soul sucking. They had this
Mhm.
like mommy room that they called it. But
Mhm.
firstly, when I had my first baby, that it wasn't even ready. So I had to like go in this dark garage and pump in my car. And then when they had it ready, same thing. It was like, I don't know if people were intentionally trying to like say things to make me feel guilty about leaving to go pump, but I just felt like they couldn't understand or relate. And so they just thought like, "Oh, there she goes again." And I'm like, "This isn't fun for me." Like it's not fun to go in this tiny little room by myself. And mind you, every time I pump, I miss my baby because I'm thinking about my baby. And then your supply starts to go down because you're away from your baby. And then if you don't pump enough, your supply, like it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I feel you on that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I didn't have the fire in my belly or the drive to make a change with the first two kids. And also they were pre-COVID, or my second one was
Yep.
right before COVID. But I think also the shift with COVID
Totally.
around a lot of people becoming entrepreneurs, starting their, like I was able to see like, oh, this is possible.
Yep.
And I feel like if you don't see people doing it, then it's really hard for you to even like get that seed planted in your mind. So that was a huge thing for me too, is like just seeing other people do it and being like, I can create a business that delivers a life that I want and like a daily schedule that I want. Like I don't have to compromise this significantly.
Mhm.
Plus, I remember looking at the role above me, which was head of brand, and being like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want that
Yes.
life. They're traveling like crazy. They're like always stressed out because it's like other higher leaders are coming into town. They have to do presentation. And I'm just like, I don't want that. I don't want to be
Yeah.
traveling like that. I don't want that life. I don't want to be in at trade shows all the time. Like, it's just like not what I want. So why am I just so clearly was like, I'm on the wrong ladder.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be on this ladder anymore. I need a different ladder. So yeah,
Oh my God. Okay. I feel like you are me and I am you because same.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I remember the role above me was VP of marketing, and a lot of my team members were frustrated with that person, and they would always say like, "Oh, I wish you would take on that role and he could take on another role or something." And I remember thinking to myself like, "Hell no. That is literally the last job that I want." Like, I would never want to do what that person's doing. And it was, again, like what you said, this piece of clarity where it was like, okay, yeah, I am not on the right ladder here. I need to get off this ladder as quick as possible. So,
yeah,
wow. Okay. So yeah, so now what you're doing, you started this marketing business, you figured out how to do it, how to start this own business yourself, and now you're helping other female founders get organized and be successful in their own business so that they can have freedom and flexibility and have a business that supports their life, which is also a huge pillar of what I help women with is getting a business that supports your life and not the other way around. So, in terms of productivity, what would you say is like one thing that most people misunderstand about productivity?
yeah. I love that question. Uh, I think I think productivity gets a bad rap, like
Mhm.
especially in this world of it was like this like hustle culture, girl boss world, and then it was like an overcorrection, right? Maybe overcorrection, where now it's like no, 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 like no hustle, no like peaceful, calm, like we don't. And I'm such a proponent of like there's a middle ground, when it comes
Mhm.
to being productive and productivity. And it's like if you have big dreams, you have things you're striving for, especially like us, we quit our jobs, we're building businesses. That's a huge dream, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to work hard, right? Like it's nothing's going to come like just on a silver platter, right? There are going to be seasons of hard work and just like understanding that and expecting that. And so when I think of productivity and being productive and what that means, it's like when it's time to work and be productive, right? We're not trying to be productive 24/7. That is
Right.
unhealthy, right? To me, that's like, ugh, no, thank you. We need
Yeah.
rest, we need breaks, we need that rejuvenation. And so whenever I talk to people about productivity, I think sometimes there's like they think that it means 24/7 hustle, this like crazy go, go, go. And I'm over here like I'm cycle syncing, like I go to the spa. I'm like, no, no, no. It's just I want to set everything up. I want to have the tools in the system so that when I do need to sit down and work, I can be productive, I can feel accomplished. That feeling at the end of the day when you're just like, oh my God, I got so much, I made so much
Yes.
progress on what I wanted. I feel so like lit up inside.
Yeah.
That's what I help founders with. And I think sometimes when people just hear the word productivity, they're like, oh, that's like burnout. That's just like working 24/7. I'm like, that's not at all what it's about. So I think that's
Yeah.
maybe the most misunderstood.
Yeah, that's so true. And actually, in working with you and getting like my calendar set up, all organized and color coded and everything, at first I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is overkill. However, I can say since organizing my calendar with you and having everything color coded, it's like I look at the week ahead, and if I don't see enough me time color in there, or if I see too much of like my work color in there, I know like, wait, okay, it's Sunday. This week ahead does not look like it's, you know, uh, leveled out evenly in terms of like the balance of how much I'm working and how much I'm having me time, spending time with the kids, because now I have a different color for the kids. And it has like changed my life. It's really helped me set boundaries. It's really helped me get in alignment with the direction that I want to go. So, like, if I've had a week where I'm like, man, that week was so draining, I like, what could I have done better? I look back at my calendar and I see those colors and I'm like, okay, yeah, obviously. Like you didn't have enough me time in there. You didn't have enough time with the kids. And so then I can correct that for the next week. So, yeah, it's been super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And time management is where I start with most people, whether they join my membership, Productive CEO Club, or they're a one-on-one client. It's like how we spend our time. And really it's not even time management, like deeper than that, it's energy management.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
It's like it's our rhythms in the day, it's our energy and how it flows and ebbs. And like the only way to better understand that is to start tracking it
Mm-hmm.
using a calendar and what people know as time management.
Yep.
And so that warms my heart to hear that, because I get a lot of people who are resistant, especially creative business owners.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh no, it's like too rigid, too much structure to time block or to use a calendar. Like I just, I journal in the morning. I just kind of
Mm-hmm.
go with the flow of the day. And I'm like, hey, that's fine. But if you have big ambitions and you're looking to actually really grow a business that builds wealth for you and your family and the time freedom that you're so desperately craving, because it's probably why you started your business in the first place, you got to have some structure,
Yeah.
not crazy rigid, but like you have to have some flexible structure in there. And that is going to help you find the alignment. Like you talked about that, the color coding. I love that because it gives you the visual cue.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have enough me time? Why did I feel drained? Doing a reflection. Why did I feel drained this week? Oh, I didn't do anything for me. Or a good one I actually found from time blocking was, from an energy usage perspective, was when I do calls, like how many calls I
Mm.
thought I could do in a day. Um, I don't know if it's like has to do with my human design type or something. I'm a projector,
Okay.
but I truly am like, okay, I really can't do more than 3 calls in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no clue before. I just would
Yeah.
like book them up. I'd have like, and so now I have a limit on my cal.com like booker link. It
Yeah.
won't book more than 3 in a day. And if
So
I
smart.
do exceed that and make an exception, I feel it. And it's
Yeah.
just confirms like, hey, yeah, that's energy management right there. And like, you just have to be okay with it if you're going to do a little override here and there. But yeah.
Yeah. That's so smart. And it is. It's kind of like reverse thinking, right? Like initially, some people might think, okay, getting these systems together is like kind of making things more structured and more rigid. And I don't like that because I came from corporate America and everything was so like process oriented and everything. And also, I feel like the way that you design your systems, at least for me, it's actually completely given me more flexibility. Like it flips it on its head. And it's like these little systems that you implement actually set up the structure to provide you with more flexibility and free time and
Mhm.
actually help you see what's at the root of causing all these issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always like, my philosophy is just like, it needs to aid you. The system or the tool or the tech or whatever we're talking about, it needs to be in support of you, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you own your calendar. I think people also are like, oh, it's like too much. And like my calendar, I've like no say because like my calendar is just like filled with stuff. It's like, no, you control it.
Yeah.
It's a tool for you. All these systems are. So yeah, if it's not helping you, let it go,
Mm-hmm.
less and release it. But if you're feeling really overwhelmed, and especially around like your day and starting out your day, like people talk about the Sunday scaries, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like pumped on Sundays. I'm like, let's go Monday. I'm excited. Let's go. I know what I'm working on. I'm like lit up by all this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, start with a calendar, and I have some free resources that we'll put in the show notes around
Yes.
like calendar categories, what to start with, and like I have a whole calm calendar color palette that people can use so their calendar's not yelling at them with like
Yeah.
crazy bright colors.
I can vouch for that actually. I had no idea that you could change calendar colors on your like Google Calendar.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's screaming at you all freaking day. So yes, of course people feel stressed.
Yeah.
um Amazing. So I love what you do. I love that you help female founders not only be productive and successful in their own businesses, but it's truly helping them from like a life level. Can you paint a picture of what it looked like for the women that you now serve before they found systems? So, like when you meet someone and they're like, Diana, I need so much help. I'm frazzled and overwhelmed. Like, paint the picture of what it looked like before them and now, like what it looks like when they're working with you.
Yeah. So there's usually 2 buckets of people that come to me. They are either, which was kind of you, starting a new business or something exciting, right? Like the podcast. And they want to build the systems right from the beginning. Like they've
Mhm.
been there, done that. They have experience in things, and they're like, I want to make sure this is done right from the get go. So I get people like that. And then I have the other bucket of people who are like, maybe they've been in business for 5 to 10 years, a little bit more seasoned entrepreneur, but they are like, this is terrible. Like systems are not my sweet spot, right? Like I'm a bookkeeper, I'm a social media manager, right? Like they have a different expertise, and they're like, this is just, I have either a cobbled together tech stack of like way too many tools. I'm paying for a bunch of subscriptions. I'm like, they're not certain, they're not giving me the features that I need. I'm paying for way too much. I'm not even using it. And I don't even know where to start, but I just know I have all these pain points or points of friction in my day to day where things are really like everything's manually done and it's sucking the life out of me or my team. Or I just feel like we're not flowing as a team. Like we're not collaborating, we're not flowing. There's no visibility into meeting notes. Everything's like just everything feels really clunky. So those are kind of the two different buckets of people who come to me, and I will help both of them gladly. And yeah, I have a variety of ways that I help people. So like you mentioned, I have the Productive CEO Club, and that's a really great way for founders, female founders that are looking for ongoing support, right? They're like, I just want to tap into accountability and support. I do Notion trainings because Notion's a big part of my business. And we do quarterly goal setting workshops, which are so much fun. So it's all about gaining clarity, and whatever kind of I meet with them when they first join, and we kind of make a game plan depending on what their specific pain points are. But that's a really good way for ongoing support. And then for people who are like, oh no, I just like want you to build a custom system for me. So what we call like a Notion setup or an operating system in Notion. Then we'll do my custom builds where it's about a 7-week period with them where they go from feeling extremely overwhelmed and scattered and just like almost a lot of times plateaued in their business from a growth perspective because it's holding them back that they don't have systems in place. And then by the end of the period, they have a completely customized operating system in Notion, unique to their business. So there's templates for things, there's automations, all tailored to their business. It's not cookie cutter. And then after that period of time, they've got training on Notion. So them and their team, they completely understand how to use the tool. That's another thing. People download software.
Yeah.
They pay like tons of money on software and they have no clue how to use it. And the customer service department sucks and they don't get any help. So that's a huge part of it too, is like having this systems ops person in your back pocket after the build to be like, hey, do you need to like troubleshoot something? Did you hire a new team member? So they have that support built in with me and my team.
I love that.
Which is great. So yeah, a lot of times then they continue on and they're able to hit that next revenue goal, and they are able, we also do some like time management stuff for some founders, depending on where they're at and their pain points. So yeah, really just it's catered to where the founder is at, but it's so much fun and it's so cool to see the transformation and people being like, I didn't even know this was possible in Notion. I didn't know that we could do this. This is so cool. And like seeing them get excited. I've seen you get excited a million times. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So it's really fun.
I now have my whole family system on it, and my husband's on it. We do our grocery list from there. We have like all of our medical information, because like the amount of times that my husband would text me and be like, I'm at the doctor with the kids. What's their insurance card information? And I'm like, go on Notion. Like it's so easy.
Yeah. I focus a lot on business, but I'm a huge proponent, and people in my Productive CEO Club, we go a little more personal in that one. And like, I am a huge proponent of having it as like almost like a life operating system, like a business one and then a personal one, which I know you have it set up that way.
Yeah. And I've done both with you. So I've been in the Productive CEO Club and done personal customized Notion setup with you. And both incredible. Like there's so much value in both. I love the club too, because the women that are called to your space, like there's just something about them. They're so amazing. And also, like we were talking about being around people, like we were talking about corporate and like being around people that kind of bring you down. The flip side of that is like being a part of communities that truly lift you up and also make you feel not alone. So like and entrepreneurship can be very lonely, especially if you're like building a business by yourself. So joining your productivity CEO club made me feel like, okay, I'm not the only one out there. Like I'm nothing's wrong with me because I'm frazzled and because I'm not organized. Like all these other women actually feel the same. And when they ask a question, I was able to see what the question was. And I was like, oh my gosh, I actually do need help with that too. So it was really an incredible support system, like from you, of course, and from the women in the group that are asking questions too that you don't even know you need until you hear them.
And I always say to people too, like, you would be shocked at how kind of like maybe disorganized is too strong of a word, but just like the lack of systems and structure in like giant businesses,
Yeah.
like global businesses, big brands. And so I just always, tell my entrepreneurs, my founders in Productive CEO Club, I'm like, like don't feel bad or behind.
Yeah.
Like you actually being in this club and getting your systems organized and prioritizing this, you're like 10 steps ahead of so many other businesses.
Yeah.
And this is laying the foundation for you to grow and become a removable CEO and go
Yeah.
take vacation and all that good stuff that we, the reason we started our business to have that
Yeah.
flexibility. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And I agree. The women inside Productive CEO Club are amazing.
So
I'm a little bit
amazing.
biased.
So amazing. Yeah. And honestly, like just speaking to brand new entrepreneurs, in my own experience becoming an entrepreneur, there have been a bunch of learning lessons I've had. Like some things that I probably wouldn't do again if I was starting a new business over. It's all part of the journey. But I would say literally the number one thing that I would recommend to anyone is getting your system set up from the get-go. Because I want to ask you, like when you're working with a brand new entrepreneur, someone who's kind of just getting started, and someone who might be a little bit more seasoned where they have like maybe 5 or 10 years of business under their belt and their systems are just a wreck, like which one is easier to work with for that person, not even just for you, but like for the person who's coming to you from both sides?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice when they come at the start and earlier on in their business because there's nothing to kind of undo,
Right.
right? We're not like undoing kind of maybe poor habits or anything like that. And there's not like this cobbled together kind of workflow that sort of was just like duct taped because they
Yeah.
did the best they could because they were scaling really quickly or whatever. So it is nice when you work with people who are like kind of just starting out because everything's fresh.
Yeah.
However, I will say it can be challenging at that point because sometimes depending on where you're at in business, you may just not know what
True.
those workflows are because you're new to it. You haven't done it that way yet. And so it's fun because you get to define those, but there can be like a little bit of kind of like testing and learning and
Mm-hmm.
tweaking as they continue to grow. Whereas a more seasoned business owner, it can be a little bit easier because they're like, yeah, whether or
Yeah.
not the workflow is working, we have it defined. And that's really easy for me to look at and basically audit it and be like, okay,
Yeah.
how can we strategize this workflow to make it more streamlined and where I actually have something to work with?
Yeah.
So totally different, but it doesn't really matter. I agree. I think setting systems up from the beginning is wise because you're going to eliminate a lot of pain
Yeah.
while you continue to grow. And even if you're like early on in business and you're like, I don't have ambitions to sell my company. That's not why I'm building it. You still need systems to run your business with sanity, like
100%.
especially if you're a fellow mom, right? We have so
Yes.
much going on. So I always say that too, is like, even if you have like, you're like, oh, I'm like, some people that build their business with no aspiration to go be acquired or anything
Right.
crazy like that. But it still will give you so much value to have systems, whether that's around your calendar or like some sort of operating system in Notion. I also sell a
Mm-hmm.
business operating system template for folks that are earlier stage. It maybe financially don't have the funds to invest in my one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
but they're like, I still want to get started with something. I bundled all the learnings from working with brands, and you now have a plug and play Notion operating system that they can just plug in and start using instantly, which is pretty cool too. So
So good. And yeah, I think just having the systems in place, it was game changing for me. So, and even if you're not starting a business, like we were talking about the life operating system, like, oh my God, it's when you are raising a family, you're basically the CEO of your home. So,
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, I use it for meal prep a lot too. That was like a huge one. So helpful to use it for meal prep because if a part of what we talk about too inside Productive CEO Club is AI, right? Like
mhm.
tech is advancing pretty rapidly, especially in the world of AI. And I do not want my founders to get left behind. And so
Right.
it's a big part of what we talk about is like, how do we harness it, bringing it down? Because a lot of my people I work with too, they feel a little overwhelmed by tech in general. Like they always are just kind of, they identify as like tech adverse or
Yeah.
like, I'm not a tech person. So I try to simplify tech as much as possible. And like with meal prepping, I use AI a lot for that
Mhm.
to help me like grocery plan and like stick to macros and things like that. So that's a way you can use it personally in your life. And it's been such a game changer. So yeah, I
That's
use
so
Notion for
smart.
personal.
That's so, so smart. Um, you know what's funny too? Before I joined your productive CEO club, I was the person that said like I am not tech savvy. And I even worked in tech startups for like 15 years. And I'm like, nope, I'm not the tech girl. Like I'm not the one that sets up systems. I'm not that kind of person. But I do feel like after working with you, like, so I switched, what are they called? Project management systems to
Mhm,
Notion,
mhm, mhm.
which was a learning curve for me at the beginning. And now I can say I'm so glad that I learned it because it's so helpful for many different things and it's so customizable. But now I'm like, have I just been saying I'm not a tech person forever? And really, I actually like am a tech person. I just have to like embody that.
Yeah,
'Cause-
totally. I
yeah.
think so much of it is mindset, like, and
Yeah.
you know about this more than anyone
Yep.
in the work that you do is, like, the stories that we
Yeah.
tell ourselves around, "I'm not an organized person, time blocking is too much structure, it's too rigid, it's not gonna work for me. I'm not a tech person, tech overwhelms me, it scares me, I've never been good at it." It's like, let's look at what we're telling ourselves
Yeah.
and then come to me and I will help you unwind that story because it is just simply not true.
It's simply
So,
not true.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I really want to go back to this part where you had this shift, where you jumped from corporate to building your own business and you realized you were doing all the things. You were working full time, you had 3 kids, you had this burning desire to want to start your own business. So, when did it really click for you that the key wasn't doing more, it was doing less, but with more intention?
Yes. I gotta be honest, I feel like that clicked a lot, like, even in my corporate days for me, I was always the person who was, like, templatizing
Mm.
things. Like I said, I was in brand marketing, so we would lead a lot of, product launches and work cross-functionally with other teams, product brand teams and PR and social and all that stuff, and I remember one day being like we had a bit of turnover at one point on the team, and I was like, "Why is like I just felt like I kept onboarding the same
Mhm.
people around the product launch and like what the different steps to do. And I'm like, why is this not templatized? So I made at the time, back in my corporate days, I actually was a Trello girly. I used Trello quite a bit. I do not anymore.
How dare
And if you're using
you?
Trello, yeah, I know. If you're using Trello right now, you come talk to me. I'll get you out of there. But I just made like a very cool like product launch template, basically around like, it was color coded and it was organized, but it was also very intuitive and simple for somebody to just like hand it over and you could, onboard with it pretty quick. And that was like just one example of many times I would do that. Like even maternity leave in corporate, I made a maternity leave planning spreadsheet
Mm.
because HR was pretty useless around that on that topic for me. And I had all these mom friends that were getting pregnant and they were like, "Oh my god, I'm so confused by like the leave and what to do." Now I just send them to my girlfriend, Hello Bundle, Lindsay. She helps people with maternity leave and she's fantastic. But at the time I just made a template and then I started giving it to all my moms because mom friends, they were asking for it. So
Yeah.
when I had so in my first year of entrepreneurship, I started the marketing business and it was fine and fun and it was good times. However, it was the first time that I was in business for myself, right? It was the
Mhm.
first time I wasn't in the structural or setup of corporate 9 to 5. And so I had an opportunity to be really reflective, right? And I'm really into personal development and growth and things like that. And so that first year I really thought through like, do I really want to do marketing and like continue down this path? Like I kind of like fell into it honestly
Mm.
after college, and I liked it, so I continued, and like I still like it today. I'm good at it, and I like it. However, it's not the thing that truly lights me up, right?
Yeah.
When somebody's talking to you, and like we've experienced this where we started talking about systems, and like literally I'm like glowing, like I
I
cannot control
know.
it, and it's so silly, but it's just how it is.
It's
And
amazing.
so yeah, that was like that first year in my marketing business. One of my clients actually used Notion and introduced me to it. And they were like, "Oh, can you also help us use this new cool tool?" Excuse me. And I was like, "Oh my god, what is this? This is amazing! This is insane! Like this tool is amazing! Like I used to use Trello and Monday.com and just all these other task and project management tools that are way more restrictive and limiting. And Notion is essentially a tool to build tools in, right? So it's just
Mhm.
this really flexible playground that you can build custom tools or custom software in for your home life, for your personal life, for your business. So I became obsessed with it and then leaned into that more and was like, okay, this is actually what I want to do. Like, and this is what I've been doing my whole life. Like,
Yeah.
I've been helping people with systems. Even my corporate days, I was making templates and streamlining things and always like seeing the most efficient path forward and like maybe even a little annoyed sometimes when like people would do it so inefficiently. I just was like, I don't understand this. So yeah, and then I listened to it. Like I
Yeah.
listened to it and I leaned into it and then ultimately ended up pivoting my business to do this full time for people, which is so much fun. But yeah, it's just crazy how windy our journeys are. You know what I mean? It's never going to be a linear line.
Totally. And it's so interesting too that you created a whole business out of like need because it was something you were doing. Like you were templatizing and building systems to save time because you had to keep onboarding people over and over and over and you were just like annoyed and sick of it. And then you started doing that yourself and then it started lighting you up, seeing people save time, and now you're taking it even a step further, a big step further, and helping like actual people change their lives with this. I mean, I'm not to exaggerate, but it kind of is like changing
Yes,
people's lives.
I love it. No, that's the mission. And I think I just would say to anybody listening that's maybe earlier, and again, I'm still really early in my journey. I'm only 3 years in. I'm in the third year of entrepreneurship. Like, but if you're like that in that first year, or you have that idea and you're still in your 9 to 5, I would just say like, you don't need to know the whole plan forward, right? Like I'm very much a planner, and I kind of like, even when I left my corporate job, I made like this whole like business plan PowerPoint. I presented it to my husband to get his buy-in. Like he was on board. Like that's just ingrained in me. But so if you are like that and you're like a planner and you like to know the plan and map it out, one of the biggest lessons I've gotten in entrepreneurship is not like being okay with continuing forward and chugging forward when you don't know the full game plan, and being okay with knowing that it will totally change.
Yeah.
Like it will most definitely change, because I had no clue if you asked me 3 years ago that I'd be doing this as my full-time business. Like I would be like, no, I'm a marketer. I do marketing. Like, so just keep going. That's all I have to say. Keep going. And like the path will uncover itself as you go.
Yeah.
You just have to keep going and just listen to your intuition too. That's also been a huge part of my entrepreneurship journey, is like making sure I have quiet time to let my intuition speak and listen to it. And then I just follow it.
Yeah.
when I hear it, speak up. So
I remember being with you in Inbal Claudio's like-minded collective in the OC. We were in a CEO roundtable, and I think it was one of the first times I met you, and you were like, yeah, I have this idea about this membership, and kind of just getting market research and like picking the other women's brains in there. And so I think you've done an amazing job of following your intuition, and also like you have a good sense of like feeling what the collective needs. And like clearly it was a gap. There was a need in the market for that. And like these women are craving it, including myself. And yeah, it's like that's how all of these big visions are born and like turned into a reality. So kudos to you. um so this term intentional productivity, can you walk us through what that actually looks like in practice?
Yeah. Kind of like through the lens of what we were talking about earlier around some maybe just like misunderstandings or bad raps that productivity gets, is this idea of being intentional with your time and what you're doing and what you're working on, and having the clarity to make sure you're working on the right things during your day, whether that's personal stuff or business stuff. And so I like to think of it as like intentional or peaceful productivity. Is like, it doesn't need to be like, you don't need to be like rushy and like through this like kind of like I'm late energy. Like that's not what we're about. It's about like taking the time to proactively plan, have that clarity, whether that's, joining a quarterly goal setting wow, I can't talk. Joining a quarterly goal planning session, or doing like I recommend my clients do like this quick little Friday weekly planning every Friday or Saturday, Sunday, whatever works for you, planning for the week ahead, so that when you start on Monday, you feel more proactive. It's about this proactive energy, and like you're not late for anything. You're right on time, and you have enough time to get done what you need to get done. We just need to prioritize. And so I think that's what it comes down to. And then, also that lens of energy management we talked about, right? Is like unique to you, right? What are your rhythms? Like, are you more of a night owl? Are you an early bird? Like, do you have an energetic cap on how many calls you can be on? Or for you, maybe that's not a thing. And you're like, I can do calls all day. I don't really care. It's like crafting your schedule and your dailies and your weeks around what makes sense for you in this season. Cause we also evolve, right? Over time, we like all the seasons change. So I always, with my clients and my members, we talk about the season ahead. Let's not get overwhelmed. We don't need to like map out the whole year like crazy detail, but just in the next 3 months, what is what do you have on your plate? Like, what are your top priorities holistically as a person? I guide my members through that when we just did our Q3 goal setting workshop. And it's like, if you take one thing away from today, take about 20-30 minutes. It doesn't need to be a long time, and just do some journaling and reflect on what are your priority pillars, because it all starts with that. If you don't have clarity on what is most important in the next 3 months, it's going to be really hard to make the right decisions in the day-to-day around how you're spending your time.
Yeah.
So I always start there. Get clear on your priority pillars. I always say no more than 5. I usually like 3 to 5, personal and business. Get really clear on that. Not only what are they, but why. Why is it important to you for the season ahead, so that you have that, you're rooted in that. And then from there, you can move on to setting, more clear, like, okay, goals, and like, how am I going to get there? What are my milestones on a monthly basis or a weekly basis? What are some habits maybe I need to stop, start, or continue, or some thought patterns around mindset? Mindset is such a big, huge element, right? It's huge. Like, it's the biggest in entrepreneurship. So if you can it all comes back to proactivity. If we can be proactive in the way that we're planning and we have that clarity, then that's how we achieve this idea of like intentional or peaceful productivity. Because when we sit down to work, we know, and we truly know in our heart that like we're working on the right things and it's going to move the needle. And then that just compounds, right? Day after day, week after week.
Yeah. I love that. And it's so true. When you are setting yourself up for success, it's so much easier to get in the mindset of like, I can do this. I'm on top of my game. But if you're constantly like, if you have systems that don't support you, it's so easy to just get like kicked back into that like reactive, sort of like overwhelmed feeling. And even if you have a good mindset practice, if your systems don't support it, it just makes it so much more difficult for you. They kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So you are basically like your own client, because you are doing all of these things for other women, but also like you're embodying them too. So now that you are fully immersed as an entrepreneur, you have your own business, you're helping all these other women. What does life and business feel like for you?
Oh, I love this. Okay, I'll give you an example from today, actually. It's the freedom to choose, I think, is truly what it gives. So, like this morning, I have 3 boys. They're in care right now, they're in like a summer camp. And this morning, my youngest just slept in. He slept until 9. He never
Wow.
does that. I know, it's insane. I was like, is he sick? What's going on? He never does that. He's usually my early riser, but he was just he was up a little bit last night and things like that. So I'm like, he was just tired. Plus, it's summertime.
Yeah,
Like, we were at the beach this weekend. Like,
totally.
the kids are just tired. Like,
Yeah.
we're doing fun stuff. We're out in the sun. So I was like, normally when I was in my corporate 9 to 5, even at the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey, I was like, had this like rushed feeling in the morning, right? Because it was like I had to get there by a certain time, or I needed to start working by a certain time because I got to get going. I got all these
Yeah.
things, and I was just like this like rushed energy. And I left that behind. Don't get me wrong, comes up some days,
Yeah.
right? If I have stuff I got to get to, we got to go. But like this morning, it was such a good example. Like, I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna let him sleep, and the kids were like playing around, making like a makeshift train. I was making breakfast, doing things, and like I was, it's just like it was. I reflected on it this morning. I was like, this is so cool to be like
Yeah.
off routine today and just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have school. It's like we don't need to be there by a bell. Let them sleep. It's all good.
Yeah.
Like, and I just went and looked at my calendar. I shuffled some things around. And it was
Love
like,
it.
it's beautiful to have that control, that freedom, and that flexibility of your calendar. Like, there is nothing better,
Ugh,
in my opinion. So that's just one example, but
yeah.
there's so many more.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. So I mentioned to you before we were recording that my son is home today. He didn't want to go to summer camp, and also he's with my daughter like in the same summer camp, and they're in the same group. She's 2 years older and she's like 8 going on 18, and so she's like, "Ugh, Jackson just wants to do everything I want to do. And he copies every activity that I make. And I just like, she's kind of like, I want my own space. And she just doesn't know how to say that. So I took her today. She's all excited. She's by herself. And I'm here with Jackson. And he's having some screen time right now. But it's like that same feeling that you explained about like if I was in corporate America right now, even if I was working from home, there's a different dynamic. And I would be so stressed out sitting here if I was on a customer call where I would be like, oh my God, if he makes a peep, like what's going to happen? Like, I can't, this is not professional. if he came over here right now and like sat on my lap and was like, "Mommy, can I have a snack?" I'd be like, "Meet Diana."
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah,
It's just such an amazing feeling to be able to have freedom and the choice over everything that you do.
yeah,
So good.
yeah, 100%.
So, what would you say to the woman who thinks that she's bad at systems or not organized enough to make this work?
Mm. Coming closer, sweetie. Let's chat. This is what I would say. You are not bad at systems. You simply just haven't been taught
Mhm.
in a way that works for you. So that is exactly what I do. Come on in and I will help you. And systems can be flexible. You have to have a little bit of structure. And I heard this really great metaphor from my friend Alicia. She talks about how, especially with systems, this is so needed. You got the masculine and the feminine. And when you imagine a glass of water, you've got a glass, which is the structure, and you have the water, which is the feminine inside and the flow. Now, if you don't have a glass and you have water on the floor, you've got a lot of problems,
Mhm.
right? You've got a mess. You can't drink it. You can't really use it. It's a problem, right? And if it's in your computer, it could break your computer, right? You have all these issues if there's water with no structure in a
Right.
glass. Whereas if you have water in a glass, you can drink it, you can water a plant with it. There's so much that you can do and it serves you.
Mhm.
So I always explain to business owners and founders if they're feeling some, like they're not feeling that they feel like systems are too much structure. I just say, listen, you need a little bit of structure so that you can step into that flow.
Mhm.
This is going to, like you mentioned, this is going to help you be more creative. This is going to help you have more time for your kids when you have some time management, some energy management, and some systems in place to help you. It's going to help you so
Yeah.
much more. So that is what I would say. And it a lot of times it's a mindset thing. So
Yeah.
I think if we can work on that too, and uncovering some of these stories we've been telling ourselves, you'll be off to the races.
Yeah, I love that. And your example that you shared of your morning today, like if you didn't have your system set up, that would have been so much more challenging. But because you do
Yeah.
have your system set up, when you have a day that like your son sleeps until 9 or something doesn't go as planned in the morning, like it's just so much easier to shift and to know, well, the rest of my week is set up for success. So if today I miss a few hours, it's fine. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Even like being home with sick kids or things like that, like the holidays, schools closed. Like in the past, it was always such a
yeah.
difficult situation. My husband works in a corporate job too. So like always trying to be like, okay, who's going to be home with the kids?
Yeah.
Like who's going to make it work? It was always this like dance. And then even so, I'd be like still trying to work. And like I felt so pulled, like I wasn't
Yeah.
fully present. And so that's a huge part of it too, to just like be able to like, oh yeah, the kids have school off. Like, cool, I'm going to block my calendar and I'm not going to be working. Like maybe during nap time, I might pop in just to check something, but like I get to do that on my schedule. I'm not doing it because somebody's telling me, hey, you need to be on Teams. Why is your little
Oh my
icon
gosh.
not green? Right. I think that brings up a lot for ex corporate people. It's like, oh my God, the status icon on Microsoft Teams.
I can't.
Like,
Oh my
yeah.
God. I like
Yeah.
never want to see that
Sorry, I
again.
brought that up.
Trigger warning.
Trigger warning for everyone listening.
Oh my God. Okay. So I have a few rapid fire questions for you just to wrap things up. This has been so good. Firstly, just thank you so much. I've like thoroughly enjoyed this whole discussion. But what is one myth? I know we talked about a little bit of like productivity misunderstandings, but what's one productivity myth you wish would disappear forever?
Mm. Let me think for a minute. I think that there's one right way to do something. That is so
Mm,
not true. There are so many ways that you can achieve what you're doing. Like I think of task management, for example, and there's so many tools out there that you can use for task management. And I'm here to say that like Notion might not be the tool for you.
mhm.
Like, and that's totally fine. So I think when it comes to productivity, like there's no one way to do something. And so if somebody's out there preaching that their way is the best way, like don't get me wrong, I think Notion is fantastic for task management. I use it. I help people use it. I think it's superior for XYZ. I can go through the reasons, but I also recognize that like if you have a tool that's working for you, by all
Yeah.
means, don't change just for shiny object syndrome. Like just find something that works for you. I'm happy to help you find what that is, but there's definitely more than one way. And like that's the reason why I like Notion so much, is because it's flexible and customizable. So we can like make it work
Yeah.
the way your brain likes to see information.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the biggest myth.
Yeah. I love that. And actually, I think that even is just true for everything in life. So,
Right? Totally.
What is your favorite system or tool that you think every entrepreneur should be using?
Okay. Caveat to what I just said. No, I for sure have like beliefs around what I think is the best one. I think when it, depends on what the thing is, but generally I would say I'm a huge advocate for
Yeah.
Notion. And Notion is, going up against like a Google and a Microsoft, and it's like creating these apps, these products for you to use. So it's not just Notion. Now there's Notion Calendar, there's Notion Mail. Like
Yeah.
they're going up against these big guys. And if you've ever used Microsoft Office and that suite, especially corporate people, most people were on PCs and Microsoft, it's painful.
Yeah.
Like the software is ugly.
Yep.
It's not intuitive and it's challenging to use. It's not enjoyable. And I always say this to people is like, our digital spaces should be as thoughtfully designed as our physical spaces.
Yeah.
Right? You have a beautiful home,
Yeah.
or you have like a little nook in your home that you just absolutely adore and it's thoughtfully designed. You have the chair and the throw. Like that's what I like to do with people's digital workspaces when we build a Notion is like, you should be excited. It should feel beautiful. It should be aesthetically pleasing. It should feel intuitive. Like you should know how to get around. That's what you can do in Notion.
Yeah.
So I would say that's why I'm a huge advocate for Notion is because it's the only tool out there that you can build in such a customized way, solutions and software that really meets your needs. It's like powerful and beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. It's so pretty now that I've like used all of your little Canva covers and they're just beautiful. So I'm like, every time I log in, I'm like, this is so pretty.
So with my rebrand, I've redone all my Notion templates. So I actually have some new tips and ideas if you want to like zhuzh up the design a little bit more beyond just the cover that I've been starting to do. And it's really fun. So we can chat.
Okay. Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. And I ask this question to everyone, but what is something you're currently working on that's lighting you up from the inside out?
I think the membership, my Productive CEO Club, I am so passionate about this. It was, like you said, really birthed through a community that we're both part of, Like-Minded OC, and was driven because I wanted to help more people. I had one-on-one services and I was like, I want to be able to help more people. I want to be able to scale this. I want also a more affordable way for people to work with me. Because everything I do is out of service at the end of the day, right? I want to grow a business. I want to hit these amazing revenue goals, but like I truly just want to serve. I want to help and I want to share my gifts and help people. So Productive CEO Club is where it's at. Like I am pouring my heart and soul into these people, into this community. I'm so pumped about growing it and seeing where it goes. And it's really like fun because not only was it built with the community, right? Through Like-Minded and CEO roundtables and getting market research and just like it was built off of that, but it continues to be that way. So I get a lot of feedback from members like, what are we struggling with? What do we want to learn about? We're going to do like an AI session later this summer. So it's really cool to see it kind of ebb and flow based on members and what they want to learn about, all under the umbrella of like productivity and, systems and tech. So
I love that. Yeah. And I can just see you lighting up when you talk about that. And also I will say, as being a member in the club itself, like you do a really amazing job at taking what the collective needs and giving them what they need. So yeah, it's fantastic. You're just doing an amazing job leading that container. So
thank you. It's a lot of fun.
This was so good. I'm so happy to have had you on. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your journey. And where can listeners find you?
Yes. Come find me on Instagram at Diana Lunzer. My website, dianalunzer.com, just recently rebranded. So go check it out.
It's so pretty.
In my opinion.
It's gorgeous. Oh my God.
I'm obsessed.
And it's so Diana.
Yes, I know, right? Like with the shift, I shifted from a brand to a personal brand. I like you did recently as well. And it's so much fun to like fully step in and like be seen and embody it. And that brand rebranding was a big part of that experience.
So good.
Yeah, Instagram I hang out on most, and hit up my website. And if you ever have any questions, just shoot me a DM. I love a good voice note. I'm happy to help if you're struggling to find the right tool or you have a question or you've hit a roadblock. Just shoot me a message on Instagram and I'd love to help.
Amazing. Well, I will put all of your info in the show notes as well as the links to some of the resources that you mentioned. So if you're listening to this, make sure to go download some of those and DM Diana. She's amazing. But thank you again. I know that this conversation is going to help so many women just get on their productivity A game and look at it from a different lens ultimately. So I'm so grateful to have had you on. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's fun.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Light Her Up. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to take steps towards a life better than you ever dreamed. I see you, I hear you, and I'm so proud of you for showing up and prioritizing your journey. When you fill up your cup with love, you can pour so much more into the people and passions that matter to you most. If this episode resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you subscribed, left a review, and shared it with someone who could use a little extra light. For more, check out our weekly 5-minute meditations or connect with me on Instagram at The Light Within Collective. I'm sending you my love, and I'll catch you on the next episode.